Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. I'm Stephanie West. I'm a licensed counselor here in the state of Michigan and owner and operator of In Progress Counseling. Today I want to invite us into kind of wrestling out things that we wish were true and they're just not. And what do we do with that understanding? The catalyst for this was last week at Bible study. They had us do kind of a spiritual giftings inventory and asked us to complete like 80 or 90 some questions and try to understand our strengths and then the areas where we're not necessarily gifted in. Now, my strengths made sense to me. My weaknesses did not make sense to me. In essence, I got the lowest scores in service, in generosity, and in hospitality. Guys, that bummed me out so much. Number one, I like to see myself as a generous person. I've told you my values are honesty and patience and generosity. It's literally a cornerstone of my life. And then I take this inventory that says like, girl, you're not gifted in that area. And it's, based on many different ways that generosity shows up, kind of like generosity of time. Am I the one that's going to show up early, stay late? I'm really not. I'm pretty boundaried. I'm pretty kind of specific with how I can give of myself and of my time. And so generosity in that respect, it's not one of my strengths. Now, hospitality not being one of my strengths, that really bummed me out too, because I consider myself to be very hospitable. Except that's if you show up during daylight hours with a text ahead of time and you make sure that it works for my schedule, then yeah, I'm pretty hospitable. So the more I reflected on it, the more I was like, yeah, there's probably some validity that I do have strengths and gifts. These are not going to be my highest ones. Now, doesn't mean I'm inhospitable and I'm stingy and I'm, really unrelenting and kind of an awful person. No, it just means that my strengths aren't going to be things like, service and generosity and hospitality. Now, what's cool is I'm surrounded by other people that have those strengths. And so we and our relationships can be very complementary, but it's important that I understand the limits of my gifting. When we go into this particular framework, there were probably, I think, like 19 different ways to shine, or maybe even like 18 or 17, something like that. I can't be strong in them all. The three that I was strongest in made sense. They're actually places where I live my life. They're places where I've developed a whole career around. They make sense for me. I'm living within my gifting. I'm living within my calling. What I'm not living within is all of the things that would be really nice for me to be good at. It's important that we understand that other people and other people's gifts and strengths are complementary, and us not having that same set of kind of giftings, or us not having the set of giftings that we kind of wish were true, maybe even the ones that are more socially lauded, we're allowed to make our peace with that. I'm allowed to say, you know what, I can be generous, but there are limits. I can be very hospitable, but there are limits. I am pretty servant-hearted, but there are limits. Those aren't my strengths. They're not my natural gifting. And I can be okay that it's different from other people. I can be okay that I am a touch more boundaried. I'm a touch more guarded. I'm a touch more off limits at times. That's actually all right, because it really pairs well with some of my personality quirks. It pairs well with what my giftings actually are. And so I want to be careful about weaponizing it against myself and say, well, I'm going to prove I am generous, or how dare you tell me I'm not generous? I'm going to prove I am hospitable. I'm going to open up my home to everyone. It's like, well, probably not. That's outside of my setting. It's actually outside of the scope of what I want to be true. And it's not within my natural gifting. And that's okay. I'm going to break bread and stand shoulder to shoulder and spend time in community with people who are really good at service, people who are really good at hospitality and generosity. And they're going to stand next to me, and I'm going to have different giftings, and those will be okay too. And together we all enhance the world around us with our different and unique styles and our different and unique gifts. And that is a really good thing. We are all enhanced when we show up in our uniqueness. And so what I want to invite you into today is don't be discouraged when you take, a personality test or some sort of metric that says you're not great at something. Probably true, because we all have limits, we all have preferences, we all have areas that we shine and areas that we don't shine. That's reality. And we can wrestle it out that that's okay. My giftings are my giftings, your giftings are your giftings, and we're all better off when those giftings are different.